Hi everyone, so today I'm here to share some projects that I made using Mama Elephant's new Little Bear Agenda stamp and die set. These are so adorable. I just love these little bears. They're perfect for so many different occasions. In particular, I think they'd be great for Valentine's Day. They'd be good for just like a sending you hugs or a sunshine card. Great for a birthday card, thinking of you, congratulations on your wedding or engagement. Lots of different ways that you could use these little bears. And we're going to use them in a few different ways in this video. So let's get started and stamp our little bears onto some Copic friendly cardstock. This is Nina Solar White 110-pound cardstock. And that was Memento black ink. And we're just going to color in the little bears, and the colors that I'm using for the bears are either in the E30 range in Copics or in the E40 range. And then the reds that I'm going to use are going to be R46 and then R56 and once in a while an R89 to do the shading on the reds. There's also going to be some pink in the little bears for like their cheeks and the balloons that they're holding, the little ribbon on the bear who's in a present. And for those, I'm going to use R81, 83, 85, and 89, with the exception of the little bear who is in the gift wrap present. For those, I used RV 00, 02, and 04, and then decided that those pinks were a little bit too bright for me, so I ended up not using them elsewhere while coloring the little bears. So the one thing that I just want you to notice from this coloring is that you can get a lot of different shades just using 2 or 3 different markers. So now I am using some E40s, and this little bear is dark, and then the bear to the left of him is pretty light, and I was using the same markers but just in different amounts. So that's something to keep in mind with your markers. You don't really need a lot of them to be able to come up with a lot of different color tones. And now I'm switching over to some of the E30s to make a couple of the bears, and then I'm going to go back to the E40s. And I just kind of, while I was doing this, I was just trying to see how many different shades of brown that I could get just using some markers in my E30s and E40 range. And the E30s I like because they're kind of warm brown colors, and then the E40s I like because I think of them as more of a cooler brown. And we're almost done coloring in our little bears, and they are just adorable if you look at the little activities that they're engaged in. So there's a little bear holding a flower. There are 2 little cupids, some bears holding hearts. There's a little bear in the upper right hand corner cutting out a bunch of paper hearts, which I think is so cute. There's another little bear on the left holding a string of paper hearts. And here they all are. All our little bears are colored in, and now we're going to start putting them on some cards. So for the first card, there it is. I am using the I think it's the Tri-Window die by Mama Elephant, and then a couple of dies by Fawn just to kind of help out with the design. And I haven't used distress inks in a while, so I thought, why not break them out and try them for this card. So we're going to start inking up the background with some sponge sugar distress ink. This is just regular distress ink, not the oxide. I'm actually not sure if they have an oxide yet. And I'm just going to work really, really hard to get a nice soft blend here. And then I'm going to spritz it with some water, dry it with a paper towel, and then heat set it a little bit. I was just looking for like the slightest hint of really, really pale pink for the background for this card. And then I'm going to die cut the tri-fold window, and now we have our background and our frame. The tri-fold or the tri-window frame die also comes with 2 words, love and hug, and they're in die form. So I took the love and I cut it out about 5 times, and then I stacked the letters together. And then for the top layer, I used the really, really light pink inked cardstock, and that's what I'm adding to the top now. So that's a total of 5 layers of 110-pound cardstock, just because I want this part of the card to stand up from the card. So I wanted a sentiment that kind of stuck out. And while they're drying, I'm just putting them underneath an acrylic block just to help them set. And now we're gonna put a tiny, tiny bit of ink on some of the hearts. And then we're going to attach them to the little doily heart frame behind them. These are both dies by Fawn. I think they were released last Valentine's Day. And I'm just going to attach all that together with some of my tape runner. And then once we're done with that, this is another die cut by Fawn. I don't remember the name of this one. And I'm just kind of punching out some of the little pieces of the paper that didn't punch all the way through with the die cut. I'm going to put the trifold window right on top of the card base, and then we're going to glue down our sentiment. And I'm going to use multimedia matte for that. And I'm going to leave the other letters on the card front so that I know where I need to place one as I go. And so now it looks like I've got them all attached there, and now it's time to decorate. So let's get out our little bears, and we're gonna play around and just try to figure out where each of them wants to go. And I spent a long time arranging them. I probably spent about 10 minutes off camera, just kind of playing and, you know, trying out all different little combinations. I had this idea in my mind that I wanted them to be like all little bear couples, so I was trying to arrange them so that each bear had a little partner somewhere. And finally, it looks like I've found my design, and this is what I'm going with. And we're just going to attach the little bears using some tape runner. And this card, I had a little bit of, I'm not going to say difficulty, but I changed my mind a lot as I was going along. So now I'm just adding some glossy accents to the little balloons and to the little hearts and little accents here and there. But as I'm doing this, I'm like, you know what, this doesn't look finished to me. It looks like it needs a little something more. So I'm just sitting back trying to figure out, I'm like, let's try putting some glossy accents on the love sentiment. So that's what I did, and that's why it's kind of glossy. I looked at it and then I'm like, you know what, it still needs something else. So this is when I pulled out my Distress Oxide in picked raspberry, and we're gonna pick all those little critters up off of the card panel. That's one of the reasons why I like using the adhesive runner for this, because it's very forgiving and it lets you remove your little pieces if you don't like where they're situated. Okay, so now I'm going to do some splatter. I don't usually do splatter, and you're going to see in a second that I'm out of practice when disaster strikes. Let's watch it. Yep, I smeared, so we're going to fix it. And I just put some water down. I'm going to try to wipe it up. That didn't quite work, so then we're going to put some more splatter down, and in the end we're going to cover up with some little critters. So not to fear, we will fix it, and the card will end up being lovely. All right, now I learned my lesson, so I heat set everything before I moved on, and now we're just going to place all the little bears back where they were before, but now they have a much more lively, vibrant background. And there we go, we got them all on. But again, I'm not quite happy again. I make one more small change, and I switch the order of the little I love you bear and the little bear holding the strand of paper hearts. And I think that now I'm happy with the card. All right, so I'm going to share some other cards that I made using the Little Bear agenda set. This one I used kind of like a turquoise theme. It says, "Hugs, you're unique and wonderful just as you are." That's a sentiment from the Mama Elephant's Little Dragons set. And the Distress Oxide inks that I use for the background is Mermaid Lagoon and Tumbled Glass. I also put some little sequins in there, some white sequins by Honeybee, and then some clear, tiny little 3mm sequins by Studio Kati, I think. This is another version. This is yellow, a yellow version. I don't often make yellow cards, so I said, why not try it now? It says, "Sending hugs and happy mail," and it has some little bears holding letters and then another little bear with his arm stretched out to give a hug. And the Distress Oxide inks that I used are Wild Honey, Squeeze Lemonade, and then Fossilized Amber. And I used that on the hugs just to make kind of like an ombre effect. This is another card I made and probably my favorite. This one says, "A little love goes a long way." And the little shaker bits that I'm using are Gumball Shaker Drops by Honeybee Stamps. I picked them up maybe a year ago and I don't think I've used them yet. So I was really happy to use them in this card. And then finally, this is the first card that we started with, and I'm just showing you all the Distress Oxide inks that I used there. Let's take one last look at our 4 cards, and that is going to do it for this video. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. I hope that if you get the Little Bear agenda, you'll consider making these cards. I had so much fun today, just making all different little rainbow versions of these cards. So have a great holiday if you're in the US, and I will see you again in the next video.